Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, I'm Jen and I've lost over 90 pounds on a GLP-1. I started with compound tirzepatide. But today I want to dive into, I think is a great question and one that I do get all the time and I see people asking, and that is, what is the best diet while taking a GLP-1 for weight loss or obesity management? Because let's be real, when you start these meds, like suddenly your appetite is going to change for most of us. Foods are going to hit a little bit different. And really like your old way of eating, it's just not going to work anymore. So I want to break it all down today. Like the key things, that you may want to eat a little bit more of, or foods that you may want to avoid or really limit. What the clinical trial actually recommends to us. And finally, the real truth, which is gonna surprise you, so stay tuned for that. But let's start with what I think is that golden rule, is that I really think there is no magical diet. I don't. Science and honestly real life points to some things that work especially well on a GLP-1. Like we know protein is your best friend because these meds can, cause you to eat way less than you normally do, and you want to protect that muscle. Also, it's satiating. I aim for about 100 to 150 grams a day. It's a range, but it's all based on your body size. Chicken, Greek yogurt, eggs, cottage cheese, could be tofu, maybe a good protein shake. Also, we always forget fiber is our sidekick. Very important, like veggies and beans and lentils and berries, whole grains. Fiber slows digestion. It keeps you full. And honestly, it works perfectly with the slower stomach effect of GLP-1. We forget how important fiber is. Also, keep healthy fats in moderation. The avocados, the olive oils, nuts. One of these days, I'm gonna try salmon again. But be careful. Fats can be like a little bit of a sneaky calorie bomb if you're tracking that. But I think the most important thing is the small balanced meals are really gonna make you feel so much better than the giant ones. And everybody's different. I'm not a medical professional. But if you've been on these meds, you know what happens when you overdo it. Happened to me the other day, severe stomach pain. But I want to nerd out for a second. I want to talk about that big clinical trial from a while ago that ultimately I think got these meds approved for obesity management. And that was a SURMOUNT-1 study. That's the big landmark trial for tirzepatide. The participants, they weren't put on a keto, carnivore. They weren't put on a Mediterranean diet. They were really on this simple plan of 500 calories per day deficit based on their energy needs, and they aimed for a balanced diet. I think it was around 30% of calories from fat, 20% from protein, and 50% from carbs. That's an interesting ratio. And they also got regular lifestyle counseling from a dietitian, healthcare professionals. If you are not obviously in a trial, you should be doing these things. But that's it. Nothing major extreme, nothing fancy, small consistent changes. They weren't eating 1,000 calories. And guess what? People lost a lot of weight. So the science really backs up the idea that it doesn't have to be this rigid diet. It's more about calorie balance, nutrition quality, consistency. So let's take a second and talk about the NOPE list. Or I really think nothing should be off limits, but it should be more be careful, because those greasy fried foods, they can trigger nausea really fast. Sugary drinks, alcohol, they're really empty calories, but sometimes they can hit a little bit harder on these meds. Same thing with ultra processed snacks. They're really tasty. They fit your calories, but they don't keep you full. Like a bag of chips. They can be gone in 2 minutes and you're like, well, I'm still hungry. Well, right, because it's not satiating. Also huge heavy meals, even if they are healthy, your stomach sometimes might not agree. And I always say it's not about never, eating, these type of foods ever again. I think it's about, how do you feel? And, just pay attention to it. And I think here's the part where I want to give the real truth after being on it for 2.5 years. I think the best diet on a GLP-1 is the one you can stick to. And you're probably like, duh, I know that. But I think we have to remind ourselves of that. We don't need the keto. We don't need the Mediterranean. If you love rice and beans, then guess what? Find a way to fit that into your daily eating. You can make it work. If you are a breakfast smoothie person, perfect, make breakfast smoothies. If you do actually prefer low carb, then that's good for you if that's what's helping you and you feel the best. But I think the magic of these meds is that they give you a little bit of a pause. They give you a pause to let you choose differently, because for the first time in forever, your hunger is no longer running the show. So I think really, instead of thinking like, what is the perfect diet or following somebody else's plan to a T, find something that's like a balanced way of eating that you can see yourself doing for the long haul. And that's the diet that is going to work. And that's what I did. And I lost 42 pounds in 3 months. So once again, like, prioritize protein and fiber. Really work to keep portions a little bit smaller and balanced, and try to watch out for foods that make you feel awful. And remember, I think this is really important. I want to talk about again, the clinical trials, they don't have to be extreme. And that best diet is the one that fits into your life, because I found that when I was just starting out, I took a list of all the foods that I enjoyed and I made them healthier for me. And I also cut the portions down a smidge. And then I just kind of kept doing that for, weeks on end. And I felt like for the first time ever, I wasn't on a diet. I wasn't in this massive calorie deficit. I wasn't dragging by the end of the night. I had more energy. And I know the medication really does help keep that food noise down, which we know is extremely beneficial. But I think that's the way we need to be approaching, weight loss on a GLP-1, is as an individual basis. Yes, you can take the percentages from the clinical trials. You can do everything that, like, you could take things from this person or take things from that person, but you have to sit down and look at them and really have a hard conversation with yourself of, is that how you want to eat? And do you see yourself doing that for the foreseeable future? Because I remember years ago, one of my friends lost a lot of weight on keto. And I'm not, once again, there's specific diets, or I should say healthier eating options for people that really work for them. And maybe for medical reasons, they have to stick to them. But in my case, one of my friends lost a decent amount of keto, and I was like, let me give that a try. I knew within 2 weeks that, one, I was not going to do this for the rest of my life. Two, I got really bad side pains from doing it. Maybe I wasn't hydrated enough. But it's that, all these different past experiences that made me sit back right before I was starting this journey back in March of 2023. And I was thinking to myself, this is a time that I want to devote all of my attention to this and make this be my last big weight loss challenge, my big weight loss journey. I want to do the things that I know are best for me. And I'm so happy I made that approach. Now, along the way, things have changed. I've allowed some outside distractions come in here and there. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is that for the vast majority of the time that I have been either in a calorie deficit or just in a maintenance period for a little while, or sometimes even off plan, I still try to stick to a lot of the things that I enjoy to eat. And even in those moments where maybe I do feel like pizza, or honestly, the other day I felt like a cheesesteak. And I'm really sorry for talking about food right here if you're struggling with it like I do on occasion. But I was like, you know what? I want a cheesesteak. And I went to Jersey Mike's and I got a really small one, and I split it in half and I had it across 2 days. But the rest of the day I had really nice high protein, fiber, tons of fruits and veggies. I stayed hydrated. I did all the things that I needed to do. And then I just enjoyed my little mini cheesesteak, and I had some cucumbers and peppers on the side. It's all about finding things that work for you and not overcomplicating the process. So I wanted to just do a nice little, I feel like sometimes videos on this particular topic can just drag on for a little bit. And I was really trying to get a video out there that's a little bit on the smaller side, that I can encourage each and every one of you, if you are just starting, you're in the middle of it, maybe you're in a stall, maybe you've been on it for as long as I have, I'm an OG. Just remember, the golden rule is to just find a plan that works best for you. And no, it is not going to be perfect. I'm speaking to myself right now, but it's not going to be perfect day in and day out. You just need to learn, but just try to stay a little bit disciplined and consistent, and just enjoy that part of it. Because I really think if you put a lot of your focus and attention on just kind of healthy eating in a slight calorie deficit, you're going to find that the weight will eventually fall off. It's not going to come off overnight. We also need to stop that. We need to stop thinking that we're going to lose 50 pounds in a month. This isn't that much of a miracle drug. And really, it's very dangerous to lose 50 pounds in a month. But if it's under doctor's orders, it's under doctor's orders. But what I want to reel it back in here. But really, let's just take a step back and think about healthy eating, a little less of that diet mentality, and find ways to incorporate certain foods in your day-to-day that fit into that, protein, fiber, maybe those percentages, moderation in fat, etc., and just see how you feel. And then every couple weeks, make minor adjustments if you need to, and enjoy this. So thank you all so much for checking out my video today. I'm really just reminding myself right now as I'm getting back into this era of being a little bit on the bored side. I want to be on a boring GLP-1 journey. I don't want any outside distractions. I don't want to try anybody's different diet plans or whatever they're telling me to do. I want to just eat my foods in moderation that I enjoy, keep having great blood work, keep feeling energized, get my sleep back on track, and just enjoy each and every day. So I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.